Kamusta? Today I'll be changing and upgrading the nickel alloy spark plugs on my Toyota Wigo. Ito yung mga kailangan at gagamitin natin. 3 pieces of NGK plugs for Wigo. This is the platinum type. Ratchet wrench, 3/8" drive. 10mm deep socket, 3/8" drive. Gapping tool. 16mm spark plug socket, 1/2" drive. 5" extension bar, 1/2" drive. Another ratchet wrench, 1/2" drive. Torque wrench, 1/2" drive. And a clean rag. The first spark plug was invented by Belgian engineer Jean Lenoir in 1859. While these NGK spark plugs are already pre-gapped, NGK recommends to measure the gap using a gapping tool. 0.035 inch is the number that we need to verify. Let's now remove the engine cover. We'll be using a damp cloth to clean this area to remove the dust. Remove 3 power connectors from the ignition coil. Use one hand to press a release clip on the harness and the other hand to push it out. Remove 3 10mm bolts holding the 3 ignition coil. We're using a 3/8" drive socket and wrench to get this done. Set the wrench like so to loosen the bolts. Turn it counterclockwise. Remove the deep socket from the wrench and use your hands to get the bolts. Pull out the ignition coil and clean this area again. We're now ready to connect this 16mm spark plug socket with our extension bar and wrench. All of them are 1/2" drive, so they would fit together. Carefully put our tool down to the well. If you feel that the socket is already holding the plug, turn the wrench to the left. If it's already loose, disconnect the wrench from the extension bar and remove our first plug by hand. Do the same process for the second and third plugs. Almost all spark plugs use copper in its core, but since copper has a low melting point, spark plug manufacturers have been adding different metallic elements to the central and ground electrode to make the plug more durable. The standard one uses nickel alloy according to the Wigo's owner's manual. We need to replace them every 12 months or 20,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. The NGK Platinum type can last up to 96,000 kilometers, while drivers can expect 160,000 kilometers from the iridium spark plug. It's important to put the old and new spark plug side by side so we can check if the new ones would match the old ones. I initially ordered 3 platinum spark plugs from the online store that we all hate and love. The seller assured me that it would fit any Toyota Wigo. But the store, RTS Auto Supply, sent me the wrong ones. Hindi pa nila pinapalitan hanggang ngayon. The seller has a terrible customer service. I will not buy from RTS Auto Supply ever again. Using a multimeter, we can check the resistance of our spark plugs to find out the condition of its component. Let's test the resistance of the old and new ones. Plug in the red wire to the ohms or omega icon on our multimeter. Connect the black wire to the port where it says COM. Set the dial to 20K or 20,000 on the ohm setting. It's normal to see the number 1 on the screen. We need to touch the tip of the central electrode, not its side, to get a resistance reading. For the old one, we're getting a resistance of 3.24, while for the new one, we're seeing 5.56. Again, these numbers are showing us the condition of these spark plugs using a multimeter. We're now installing the new and right set of spark plugs on their respective cylinders. It's recommended that we use an extension bar first to hand tighten these plugs. We'll slightly tighten them using a ratchet wrench before we use a torque wrench. Let's set our torque wrench to 14 foot-pound. We need to use a torque wrench so we can be sure that the spark plugs on the cylinder are not too loose or too tight. Kapag masyadong maluwag, it can cause a blow-by o pag-awas ng engine oil to the plugs and ignition coil. On the flip side, the spark plugs and the threads on the cylinder can break if it's too tight. Reinstall the ignition coil. Then reconnect the wiring harnesses. Use a deep socket to initially put back and hand tighten the bolts. Now tighten the bolts using a ratchet wrench. Return the engine cover, then turn on the engine to test our new set of platinum plugs. I hope marami kayong natutunan. Please consider subscribing. May God bless you, and I'll see you soon.